Hi there, I'm Tom Solomons. I'm a property consultant here at Sewell and Gardner Estate Agents. We look after a lot of first-time buyers on a regular basis, and a lot of them are a bit naive to the process of buying their first home. So we thought we'd put together a helpful little guide for that first-time buying process. Having gone through it myself recently, I'm here to talk you through it. So the first and most important thing that you'll need is to make sure that your finances are all sorted before you start going out and seeing property. Firstly, you'll need to know what your deposit is going to be, what you've got saved and stashed away, what you'll be able to borrow, what sort of mortgage you can get, and you'll also need a reputable financial advisor or mortgage broker to help guide you through the whole process, as it can be quite difficult. And actually it's quite daunting. There's a whole range of different kinds of mortgages, different rates at the moment, and they do change quite regularly based on sort of economic factors, how different lenders and banks are competing with each other, and also the brokerage that you use, because they'll have sometimes certain relationships with certain lenders, which means they can get better rates or exclusive rates. This is actually the one area where an estate agent is probably least able to help. You've got to be qualified to talk through that sort of thing and to give proper financial advice, which is why we look to Heron Financial, who are a local independent mortgage brokerage that we work with on a very close basis to look after our clients, buyers and sellers, to make sure that they're looked after. It's really, you need to know what you've got to spend ultimately, because that'll inform the kind of property that you can buy and actually the areas or sub-areas of locations that you can buy it. So once you've got the money side of things sorted, you need to know where you're going to live. And there's all sorts of different factors that are going to affect perhaps the areas that you might want to consider. Some people will need to be within a very short commutable distance of work, for example, or perhaps you may need a particular school. The trick is to do your research and do this quite carefully at this stage. You don't want to see the dream property that you can afford, but then realise it's going to take you an hour and a half to get into work and you're just not willing to do that. Or perhaps it puts you outside of catchment for the perfect primary school that you'll need in a couple of years' time. So my other half and I, we sort of based where we ended up choosing based on her commutable distance to work and something that wasn't too far for me. She wanted 10-15 minute drive. I was happy to go for a little bit longer. So we know what we've got to spend, we know where we want to live. Now we've got to actually go out and see some properties. So the internet's a fantastic place to start, can give you a broad idea of what's available, but the absolute best place to go will be to your local estate agents. They'll be able to advise on where within the locality the type of properties you're looking for are. They'll know what's likely to be coming up on the market soon, as well as what's currently available, and of course they'll be able to best advise on what you can get for your money and what's good value in the area. It is quite a tough market to buy in at the moment, so it is best to take your estate agent's advice about how to press forward. I remember the number of times where I'd perhaps phone up an agent having seen a property online, and it would already have sold, or they'd have taken offers and weren't having viewings anymore. So it is really important to speak with as many local agents as you can, so that you hear about properties at the earliest possible opportunity and get to see them before they go. Getting the most from your estate agent actually can sometimes take a bit of proactivity on your part as well. You want to encourage an agent to always think of you when perhaps a new property comes on, so that you get to see it either before it perhaps launches on the internet or before a lot of other people get the chance to see it. So it's important to make sure that you are proactive as well. Always give prompt feedback after reviewing, even if you don't like a property, because that'll help the agent narrow down choices, get rid of unsuitable properties perhaps, or get a better idea of what you're looking for, so that no one's time gets wasted going out and seeing something that's not right. But within that as well, don't write off a property because perhaps you don't like the photographs or the floor plan doesn't feel quite right for you. You never get a true indication of how a property feels until you step inside it. And actually, the place I ended up buying, I think from the photographs I wouldn't have even viewed it. My other half was really keen to go and see it, and actually it was as I walked into the kitchen that I knew, right, this is the one I'm going to buy. Alright, so we've been out, we've seen a load of houses or flats, we've had the in-laws round, got their approval, absolutely fallen in love with one. Now it's time to make an offer. So this part of the process can actually be really daunting. It's the most expensive thing you've bought in your life, and let's face it, we don't really like talking about money. This is another part where you can really use the experience and expertise of your estate agent. we deal with offers all day long. So we can help make things as easy and comfortable as we possibly can. And you know, hopefully ease you through it. If you've been following my advice so far, you should be in a really good position to breeze through this process, because you know, you'll already know what you can spend, what the sort of offers you can make. It's important to have your mortgage broker or your financial advisor standing by, because a good estate agent will want to see proof of your funding situation, whether that's, you know, having a conversation with your broker, or you having some sort of written evidence of a mortgage in principle, for example, so that they can report to the client. It's important that you're as proactive with this as you possibly can be, because the strength of your offer and your enthusiasm are all going to be conveyed to the seller, and hopefully that'll make any further negotiations down the line that much smoother and easier. So, fantastic, your offer's been accepted, congratulations, but we can't break out the champagne just yet. We've got to go through the legal process. In England and Wales, this is actually quite involved. You've got a solicitor acting for yourself and for the seller, and sometimes for your lender as well. And the whole process can run from anywhere from a few weeks to a few months, depending on the kind of property and exactly how much paperwork there ends up needing to be done. It's important to have a good solicitor that you can trust, who'll look after you throughout this process. So as your estate agent, I'd look after you as best I can and help manage everything, keep communication up between all parties, because nationally a third of all sales fall through, and often this can be because of poorly managed communication between solicitors or between buyer and seller. So in addition to financial advisors and mortgage brokers, we can recommend and put you in touch with some excellent solicitors who can answer any questions you've got about the ins and outs of the legal side of things, but who also, you know, we know and we trust to help get things through efficiently, smoothly, and to look after you along the way. Alright, so to recap, my top tips for first-time buyers. Firstly, you've got to get your finances sorted. You need to know what you've got to spend. Then, you've got to find out where you're going to live. Make sure you do your research and you know what you're going to want within those areas. Then, get out to see as many properties as you possibly can. Take your estate agent's advice and make sure you're clued up with what you need and how that's going to affect the life that you're going to be living in the property once you've bought it. Don't be afraid of making offers. Make sure you've got all your financial information ready so that you can prove your funding situation as and when the estate agent needs it to hopefully wrap up that purchase for you. And lastly, make sure you've got an excellent solicitor who can guide you through the whole process and make sure that it wraps up quickly and efficiently. Lastly, if you've got any questions about this first-time buyer process, or if you've seen any properties that we're selling that you'd like to come and look at, you can give me a call at our Chorleywood office on 01923 285 886, or you could speak to Jackie, who's the assistant manager of our Rickmansworth branch, and she's recently gone through exactly the same thing, and you can reach her on 01923 776 400.